Hi there, I'm Andrew McComb and welcome to Outlier. In this week's episode, I'm in beautiful Hakuba, Japan, where I'm going to be speaking to Daniel Mee, who's the founder of Hakuba Snow Sport School. Okay guys, I'm excited as always. I've heard Dan's been up to some incredible stuff and I'm really keen to share this one with you. Let's go and meet him. Daniel Mee, welcome to Outlier.
Yeah, thanks Andy. Proud to be here.
Mate, talk about here. Where are we, mate? We're in the middle of paradise in the snow.
Yeah, we're in a place called Hakuba in the Japanese Alps. We're about 5 hours from Tokyo if you go by car. And currently we're sitting on the Hakuba 47 side of Goryu Hakuba 47 ski resort.
What a backdrop.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
What a life, mate. So you've created this incredible life. You've got a fantastic ski school up here. 60, 70 instructors, 3, 4, 5 months of the year. But it wasn't always like that, was it? Where did it all begin?
Well, I'm from, as you know, Andrew, I'm from the same place as you, Dunedin, in bottom of New Zealand. And went to school there and played a lot of sport growing up, predominantly rugby and cricket, which is New Zealand's sort of fundamental sports, I suppose you'd say. And from there did a little bit of skiing growing up, started when I was 3 years old, but didn't do much until I was about 20 when I realised I wasn't going to be an All Black. So I decided to take up skiing, which I'd liked when I was a younger kid.
Yeah, and so All Black was the dream at that time?
All Black, no, probably not. More of a play for New Zealand and cricket was probably my big one there, yeah. But I sort of a bit disillusioned and went for skiing, and it was the first sport I'd done for myself, always playing team sports, so I really enjoyed that aspect of it where whatever you did, you reap the rewards in your own development, so that was something that really appealed to me in skiing,
yeah. Being
an individual sport as opposed to the team sport.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? You have to be self-driven in the skiing realm, don't you? You don't have people to rely on.
Well, that's right. You know, you don't have. Well, of course, if you know you go on race teams and that sort of thing. But when I was doing it purely for enjoyment. But coming from a sporting background, I always wanted to be good at what I did. So I found that I progressed really quickly. And of course, when you progress in something, you get a real passion for it. So I went from being a pretty average skier to being a fully qualified instructor, and yeah, that sort of thing.
So you dropped the cricket and the rugby, and it became a full-time gig. Like you became an instructor. Did you have to go to university for that, or how does it work? Yeah,
so I was at university in Dunedin, Otago University, and I was studying physical education and a marketing management degree. And I realised when I was 20, I wasn't, I was a good rugby player, but I wasn't going to play for Otago or anything. So over winter, of course, I still had cricket. I was playing a bit of that in summer, but over winter I thought, hey, I'll go up and have a go at skiing, and went up with a mate every weekend during university, and we ended up doing our ski instructor's test at the end of that season. So our idea was it would be good qualification for us to travel over university holidays, so because there's all sorts of opportunities over summer in New Zealand. You can go to the Northern Hemisphere and teach skiing, rather than doing a summer job to pay off your fees.
Yeah.
It's a good job to do it. So we got our stage 1 New Zealand Ski Instructors Association licence, and that got us green cards to go to America, where we went over and taught for the next New Zealand summer, Northern Hemisphere winter. So that's sort of where it all started. And then I ended up sort of spending little time at university and spending all my time in Wanaka, where I worked at Cardrone Alpine Resort as an instructor. So I'd do 5 days a week up there and then 2 days at university.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how it all took off, and went from there and did some hard yards to get fully certified in the ski instructors or snowboard instructors world. There's different certifications like anything. You have to do written exams and learn how to teach people and what you're looking for, and then so you have different licenses. So to get your full license, it's actually it was harder than me getting degrees at university, to be fair. I found that pretty easy, but I failed my full cert 4 times and got it on
right?
my 5th time, so it
What
took
was
me
so
about
hard about
7
it?
years. My hardest thing probably was realising I wasn't that good.
As a skier?
As a skier, technically, as a
Right.
skier. I was always very athletic, and I was doing like competitions for backcountry big mountain skiing competitions, and I started to get into freestyle, which I was doing all right at. But, you know, that's very different to presenting a nice picture for demonstrating to customers and stuff like that. You know, you can be a charger, but that doesn't mean you're going to be good in the demonstration sort of side of things. So I really had to work on my technique to get to the level where they'd pass me to get my full license.
Wow. So 7 years, but in that time you're working as an instructor at a certain level, but not the full-blown...
Yeah, so I think in 1995 I qualified as an instructor, and then I did a season, went and taught at Cardrona for a few seasons, and then I went over a university holiday. I was still at uni at this time, and did a season over in the United States, and then I came back and I finished my degrees at university, and I was sort of a bit disillusioned. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I went into teachers college, became a qualified high school teacher, and then from there I tried a little bit of that, a bit of long-term relieving, but I was still young and the kids looked older than I did at high school. Being a ginger dwarf,
They still
you know
do,
what
mate.
I mean? Yeah. Well, I don't know now. Yeah. So anyway, then I was looking for a job. I thought, school teaching's not for me, so I might look for something to use my marketing management degree. And so I was applying for jobs and that, and you know, like Coca-Cola and things like that. And I was looking for jobs in the ODT, the Otago Daily Times, our local newspaper. And I saw just a tiny little ad saying, ski instructors wanted for Japan. And it had a phone number on it, and that was it.
Wow.
I called up that phone number, and 2 weeks away I was away to Japan. Did my first season in Japan in 1998. And so I went over there. I still didn't have my full license. I was sort of mid-qualified in the reins of instructors. So I started going to Japan. I was up in Hokkaido, the northern island of Japan, working for a company called Club Med, which is all-inclusive sort of resort. People come, they get their food, their lessons, their lift tickets, everything included. So it was really a good time, and so yeah, did that, and then I started doing back-to-back seasons. What we call is when you do the Northern Hemisphere winter. When that's finished, you go to the Southern Hemisphere, to New Zealand, you'd teach there. So I was doing 8 months a year teaching skiing, and I did that, I don't know, for a long time, from 98 through to, I think 2007 was my last winter in New Zealand. So I was almost 10 years
Wow.
winter the whole
Yep.
time. Like women, 18 seasons.
A
in
lot of
row
wet
or
socks,
something.
mate, in that time.
Yeah, a lot of wet socks. A lot of wet socks. Yeah, no, but yeah, I fell in love with Japan when I came here.
Yeah.
I found the snow's, you know, second to none in the world. It's amazing. You can see here the backdrop, the snow we got, just fantastic. The mountains are really spectacular, and it's just a beautiful place to go skiing and snowboarding. And yeah, came to Japan, liked the people, liked the snow. I fell in love as well, Andrew, as you do.
Oh, not with the snow, something else?
Yeah, no,
The snow
not with
bunnies,
the snow.
yeah.
With the snow bunnies, yeah. I found a Japanese snow bunny that appealed to me, and so I ended up getting married, and yeah, so I live here all year round now in Hakuba. I moved down from Hokkaido to Hakuba in about 2005, and yeah, so I've got a house here in Hakuba. I live here all year round, and it's a Japanese wife and a couple of lovely children.
Very good.
Some people would say they're not lovely, but
Perception's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
So, mate, obviously that was the personal journey. Hakuba itself's a bit of an outlier, isn't it? It hasn't been renowned for too long. Like it's become famous in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah. Like when I came here, I was going all around Japan. I decided I wanted to make a ski school somewhere, and so I went all around Japan looking at different resorts. And I came to Hakuba, and I just found that it had everything that my future customers could possibly want. You know, you've got a a lot of snow, you've got amazing mountains, you've got a variety of mountains in the Hakuba Valley. There's like 9 resorts you can go to within 20 minutes drive, so it's a lot of variety. Here, as opposed to Hokkaido, you tend to get a lot of snow at once, and then you'll get blue sunny days. Whereas Hokkaido being further north, it tends to get more inclement weather all the time. So a lot of my customers, they enjoy the sun with the snow, so that's why I found Hakuba was the ideal place for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hakuba's a place that's growing in popularity now. It wasn't so much when we turned up here. There wasn't many foreigners here at all, but you know, I believed in the place, and because it's spectacular. They did have the 1998 Winter Olympics here.
Right.
So, you know, it is world renowned, and probably in Japan, within the Japanese population, Hakuba is arguably the most famous resort in Japan. So, you know, on the national scale, like it's always been like really popular, but over the last, say, 7 years, it's really starting to take popularity overseas.
Which I guess is perfect timing for you, right? So you've gone from being I guess, call it a sole practitioner as an instructor travelling the world,
yep.
Offering your services to other businesses and that.
Yep.
Did you obviously had a vision, well, at what point did you start going, I would like to create my own school?
Yeah, it was one of those points, Andy. We got, you know, I got married when I was 30, and we're looking to have children and stuff like that, and, you know, the ski and snowboard instructor life's not easy. You're doing it for passion, you're not doing it for money.
Yeah.
And basically, you know, you're living on nothing. You save enough money to buy an air ticket to go back and teach, and you have a good time while you're doing it and that. But it came to a stage in my life where I was married, I was looking to have children. I said, well, you know, I either have to go and get what people might call a real job, you know, using one of my marketing or something like that, or I have a shot at doing something that I've invested a lot of time in and make a business with what I know. And I've spent a lot of time skiing, snowboard instructing, and, you know, sharing my passion with the snow to customers. And so I thought, well, I might as well give it a chance and use all that experience to try and, you know, further my life and keep passing on the passion to the customers.
Yeah.
So, you know, I started up a small school. We called it Snow Instructors Japan, and this was in 2005. And we'd go anywhere in Japan and teach for a minimum 5-day private lessons, and just start off with me and a friend who's now Dougie. You'll probably meet him later on, who's now one of the owners of Hakuba Snow Sports, and started off that, got to about 5 or 6 different instructors, just going around Japan anywhere, but our base was Hakuba,
right,
teaching private lessons. And
did you get flown in, flown out, or how did you choose where you were going?
Well, yeah, customers would, through word of mouth. Of course, we've met lots of clients over the years, teaching when we're teaching for other ski schools and snowboard schools, and you get a bit of a following, you know, if you're doing a good job. And you know, I like to think I'm pretty personable with customers, and you know, they enjoy your company in that as well, and you get a bit of a following. So they'd say, hey Daniel, and you know, over Christmas I'm going up to Hokkaido to ski, can you come along with us?
Wow.
You know, and so we'd do that, but then we started basing in Hakuba, you know, and you know, there's all our expenses. You'd include that as your expenses, the flying, the travel to go and teach them, and they'd pay you a set fee sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, we're here in Hakuba and it was going really well, and you know, hotels and even the resort actually approached me and said, hey, do you want to set up a full-blown ski school where you can cater to people that just want group lessons and that as well? So in 2009 we moved away from just doing the privates to setting up Hakuba Snow Sport School, and it was a bit of a gamble because I was doing really well the other way, and all of a sudden I was having to become a full-blown sort of almost manager rather than instructor, where I was employed, I think it was 15 people for the first season, and it became a different sort of a challenge. I took a big pay cut, you know, for many years, and to get to, which all small business owners have to do, I think, to succeed. You can't think you're going to go in and just start creaming it from the start. So, you know, it was quite tough there for quite a few years, but it's kept growing season after season, and so we're 11 seasons in now to Hakuba Snow Sport School, and got 62 instructors this year, plus a few other staff, so about 70 all up. And yeah, it's going well, and we're slowly growing, and yeah, it's come good for me.
What was the tipping point for you? Like you mentioned, initially 15 in your first year of instructors, and it was a battle, and you were paying yourself hardly anything, and you obviously got other overheads, you got all your staff to worry about. When does the tipping point occur, like time-wise and also as a business-wise?
Yeah, like we were, the company was making a profit from day one, you know, but it was very small. And the thing is that when I started the ski school, being an instructor myself, it was always tough because I knew instructors don't make much money, and it's really hard. It's a hard life, you know. You do it for passion. That's what you do it for.
Yeah.
But a lot of people get burnt out because there seems no sort of future in it. There's nothing, you know, because people get older. They, like me, they will get married or want to have kids or something. So you need more financial security. So when we started it, we sort of thought, well, you know, we don't want to be like other schools per se and like pay the instructors very little while they're making a mint. We decided we'd try and pay our instructors quite well, and try and provide really nice accommodation for them. So even like people, older guys, we've got 50, 60-year-olds working for us now, and they're happy with the living environment, and they're getting a decent pay. And so they can actually, rather than just having enough to buy a couple of beers and sort of survive, they can actually save some money and go on holidays or, you know, whatever. So it's the tipping point, I suppose, was about 6 seasons in. So the last 5 years we've really seen a big growth, and that's come with Hakuba becoming more popular, so we get more and more customers. Of course, we only try and hire, we try and predict for the next season the sort of business levels we're going to have, and then we'll hire accordingly. We don't want to hire too many instructors, so the instructors aren't getting work and that sort of thing. It's not fair on them. You know, there's a lot of variables we take into consideration, but one of the primary ones is we try and keep our instructors we've got employed, and keep them happy, because if we've got happy instructors, we've got happy customers, you know what I mean? And I think that's one of the crux to this business, and it's any service industry, isn't it? You know, if your staff are happy and they're serving your customers, the customers are going to be happy.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mate, it's getting bright here, so I'm going to put my sunnies on, because look at that backdrop, mate. I want to be able to see that.
No, I couldn't do it, Andy. You'll end up with crow's feet before your time.
Before I'm 40, mate, you reckon? Put on these fancy sunnies. Yeah. So, mate, obviously, happy staff, happy customers. What are your customers experiencing? Like, how does it work on a day-to-day? If I'm a customer and I come, what are you doing for me?
So, I mean, people are coming to us because they want to learn to ski or snowboard. You know, people come on holidays, and we get a lot of first-timers in the ski industry. Your business model's sort of like a pyramid. You have more beginners that want to do lessons, and then the more advanced they get, the less lessons they'll do, because they are advanced, so they don't need so much instruction. So we get a lot of people, you know, but we still do get all levels of people, and they come and basically they want to get better at what they enjoy. And it's like anything, the better you get at something, the more fun you can have. You know, we're on a big mountain environment here. You know, the speed record on skis over 250k an hour. It can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, you know what I mean? So, and it can be scary. You know, I was with you yesterday, Andy, and it's your first time back in a while. It can be quite freaky, you know, and it's not fun being scared, is it?
No, well, you're out of your comfort zone, aren't you?
Yeah, it's not fun at all. So we get people that want to enjoy the mountain environment and the snow, and we try and educate them so that they can go out and have a good time being safe, and share this beautiful environment with their family and friends, and not be scared at the same time.
And so, private lessons, group lessons, you're snowboarding, you're doing normal skiing, are you doing anything else other than that? Yeah,
we do private and group lessons. For private being you hire an instructor specifically for you or for a group of you, so you have that one instructor with just with your group, or for you individually, or you can join group lessons where you'll join a specific level of ability, and you'll join with people who are like, you know, a homogenous group so you can all learn at the same level. So that's what our group lessons are. Of course, the group lessons are cheaper sort of a rate, and the private lessons tend to be more expensive. But we do all those sorts of things in skiing and snowboarding. We don't do, there's other places here that do like backcountry tours and that.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a backcountry man myself. I'm never qualified, so we don't do that. But
Yeah.
we can recommend other people in Hakuba that you can see the backcountry here was when you ski off the resorts is world class. And so we can recommend people that can do that for you. But, you know, I'm a big believer in stick with what you know.
Yeah.
And what I know is how to teach people to ski and snowboard. And then through that, my knowledge and passion, I can pass that on to my staff. And so I know how things should go.
Yeah.
And so our staff know what they're doing. They're professionals at skiing and snowboard teaching. And that's when the customer gets a really good experience and they can enjoy a sport which crosses generations. You know, we have 3-year-olds skiing with 80-year-olds. You know, not many sports you can do that with, you know, where you can come as a family, or like I say, you could have 4 generations of family coming skiing together. So it is an amazing time for that family sort of trip.
I noticed too, back when I think the last time I skied might have been 25, 30 years ago, when I was maybe 10. I'm not that old, mate. But what I noticed is back then there was only advanced, intermediate, beginner, and you get chucked in. But what I love about what you guys are doing already, it was really noticeable from the start. You've got levels within levels.
Yep.
And then you're allocating an instructor relevant, and not just in a way of expertise, but whether you actually think they'll fit, that instructor will fit with that type of person and vice versa.
Yeah, and that's something that we pride ourselves on here. Me and Dougie, who you might see later on, is we have the experience. We've taught so much. Dougie's been teaching for 40 seasons, and we do all the bookings. We don't have office staff that do it for us, so every booking that comes in, we do ourselves between the two of us. And then what we try and do is match personalities to of our instructors and levels, skill levels. They've got different licenses that with the customer. So it is quite, and that's the beauty of being a smaller, you know, people might say 70 people isn't small, but we are a small ski school on the scale, and we're privately owned ski school as opposed to owned by the resort. Yeah. So, you know, because it is our business, we really care about the customer and try and match the customer to the student, the customer to the teacher, and vice versa. But what you're saying about the levels, yeah, we have different levels. So you can be a very first timer, we call level 1, and you can go up to level 6, which is our highest level, and that's when you're almost an instructor yourself. Right. Okay, and so everywhere between them, we try and get people, especially in our group lessons, it's really important that we get people with the same ability level learning together, so no one's feeling slow, no one's going too fast, you know what I mean? So everyone's in a comfortable environment to learn and progress at their own level.
So Dan, you know, I've noticed yesterday looking at the levels, people come in, they're really pumped, right? And I've also noticed you don't do a lot of marketing. So a lot of the businesses, is it repeat business? Is it word of mouth? How does that work?
Yeah, we've got a very good reputation, like within the Hakuba Valley. Like, we have a few clients that will come to Hakuba Snow Sport School or come to Hakuba specifically because they like a particular instructor. The instructor can become a very important part of a family or an individual ski holiday or groups of friends or whatever. Sometimes people follow the instructor wherever they go. They'll only ski with that instructor. Yeah. But so you have that loyalty following through instructors, but also we have within the travel agents and the hotels and stuff in Hakuba, we've got a good reputation for providing a good product. And you know, when people go on holidays, it's not a whole string of things need to come together for them to have a good experience. You know, if they're flying from New Zealand per se to Japan for a ski holiday, if something goes wrong and they get their baggage lost, that's a real bad start. You know what I mean? So that's the airlines let us down. If the transport from the airport to Hakuba, it gets delayed, or there's traffic jams, or there can be things out of their control, but now their experience, the transport people have dropped the ball. You know, if they turn up to their hotel and their hotel's not what they've expected, or the service isn't great, or things like that, then that is a detriment to the thing. And then they come to us and they have a crappy lesson or don't enjoy their time on the snow, that's going to deplete from their holiday. And so it breaks, you know, it's the old cliche, you know, chain's only as strong as its weakest link, isn't it? You know, but it's true. And so I try and suggest people stay at people that I know will provide a good accommodation experience if they ask me. You know, if they want a ski rental, I'll point them in a direction where I know they're going to get a good service. And I think that's what's happening here, and that's where sort of our marketing, we're very lucky, is because we've shown to the providers, the travel agents and the local accommodations and things like that, that we care about the customer and we provide a good service, then they are confident that they can send their customers to us and know they'll come back and have a good time. You know, and that's great for the accommodation, because they don't want to deal with people who are whinging or crying because it hasn't gone like they wanted either.
So when you started the business, back to, like, let's just for the viewers' sake, looking at a planning process, what was the vision? Was it just to, like, I know your original vision you mentioned was just to have enough money for a ski ticket for the next day, right?
Yeah.
So it's incredible that what's occurred from that passion just to go skiing.
Yeah.
But then when you sat down at the start, after being an instructor for so long, what was your process to design what you have now? Or did it not, was it not about that?
I knew the business because I've managed in ski schools in New Zealand and stuff like that. I knew that snow schools can be profitable and can do well. So I knew that there's a good model there to succeed, you know, and I identified Hakuba as a place we were lacking a really good international ski school, a snowboard school, snow sports school. So I knew there was a place for us here and that we could do well. But there is always, you know, when you start a new business, you're unsure. Are people going to like it? Are people going to want to come back and ski with us? You know, the big one for me is, are staff going to want to come back? Can I get enough customers to pay my staff so that they can come back and want to come back and work for me, so then I can start building a pool of great instructors that can provide the service that I want to. So, I mean, it's... did I plan to get to where not really, It's sort of just going along with what I knew. I knew snow schools were a good business, and so it's going really well now, and, you know, I hope to keep expanding in Hakuba as Hakuba becomes more famous. Of course, more customers come to Hakuba because they like here. We're going to have a bigger pool of customers to deal with, you know what I mean? So, of course, we have to evolve as the village evolves as well.
Just on that, like, you've got some great vertically integrated businesses that have now spun off the back of the school. That wouldn't have been part of the vision initially, would it? With you've got the accommodation for staff.
No, that's sort of, that was through necessity, really. In Japan, it's not easy to get accommodation for seasonal workers. You know, you need to have all sorts of documentation and Japanese abilities to be able to rent your own houses and stuff. So what we found is that for us to keep expanding, we'd need to provide accommodation for our staff. So we've actually bought up quite a few properties. We've got 3 lodges and 9 apartments and another small sort of house now that we have, in total of 58 bedrooms. So that's been really good for us, because not only are we doing the ski school, but we're acquiring property which is in a market which is growing, and land prices are going up and things like that. So there is a bit of a spin-off there, but the whole thing with that was through necessity. You know what I mean? I need places to save and put my staff.
Otherwise you're capped, don't you? You can't expand.
Well, that's right, and that's a problem with property pricing. I think it's a problem everyone has around the world, and in all resorts, is staff accommodation. It's a big problem. I know, coming from New Zealand, Queenstown, and that has a massive problem. There's nowhere, and let's face it, seasonal staff, they're not getting paid heaps and heaps of money. They earn enough money to sort of live, but staff can't afford to pay $500 a week for rent and stuff like that. It gets ridiculous. So, you know, we've bought these accommodations at good rates and stuff like that, and we try and provide, affordable accommodations. So our staff, again, that comes down to the staff enjoyment. If they're having to pour all their money into their rent and stuff like that, they don't have enough money to go to Blimmin Bali or Thailand after the season before they go back to New Zealand or Australia or Chile or Argentina to ski in the southern hemisphere. You know. So like you say, we've got a few businesses which have sprouted up, but it's through necessity rather than. But it's going well, and it's property is always a good investment, isn't it?
Exactly. So what are you doing with the apartments and stuff in the off season? Are they empty or?
Yeah, they're currently empty. Yeah, sort of, you know, we've thought about renting them out and that, but no, not at the moment. We sort of like to clean them up and get them ready for, you know, do some maintenance or renovations and that sort of thing, so they're ready for the next winter.
Yeah. So just on that, you have a big off season, right? Is it like 4 or 5 months on and 7 to 8 months off? What do you do in your spare time?
Yeah, well, I used to, when I first started, it was quite tight, so I was working all sorts of jobs in the summer over here. I was did some painting, worked for an outdoor adventure company doing some rafting, sort of river walking and things like that. But as we got bigger and bigger, then of course my salary's increased, which is able to support me all year round now. So, you know, the ski season operates usually end of November, start of December till about the 5th of May every year, so we're open all those times. After that, then, you know, the rest of the year now I have a lot of free time. I have some certain busy times, like June we do hiring of staff for next season. End of August I have my end of year taxes, so they're a busy time. But the other times from that, I'm a bit of a man of leisure at the moment. I always seem to try and get into a project. I took up tennis again, you know, start playing tennis a couple of times a week, which is great. And
Play cricket too still, mate? Or
yeah, I did have a dabble in cricket there, Andy. I got into cricket over here and managed to make the Japan national side. So I went to the World
you finally
Division 8.
achieved your dream,
yeah,
mate.
international cricketer. So I played cricket for a while, and then my kids were getting to an age where I had to spend more time, because over here cricket you got to travel 3 or 4 hours to play. That's get there and then get back. So with young kids it was difficult. So my kids are 8 and 10 now, so I actually just got back into it last year, which was good times. So a bit of cricket. I run a marathon. I did that for a project one summer. But recent one's golf, which I know you like, is golfing. So I've got into that 2 years ago, and so I'm trying to get my handicap down now on that. So that's the next project. And
yeah. What are you playing off?
I'm playing to a 10 at the moment, so the dream is to get to single figures. Mm-hmm. So if I get enough rounds this year, then maybe I'll be able to push that way. But you know me, mate, I have a bit of a patience issue. I tend to get a bit angry on the golf course at myself. You know? So I think once I learn to master my own emotions, I might be able to do better there. But yeah, no, so summers is a great time for me, and I'm very lucky that while I had my kids growing up, I've been able to spend months with them while they're growing up over summer, especially when they weren't at school. I'd spend all day with them and take them down to the river or to the lake or something. So I was really lucky in that regard, to be able to have that time with the kids while they're growing up.
Well, I guess that's a really important point, and it's important about Outlier as a series, is we're trying to inspire other outliers or entrepreneurs to do similar to yourself, right? So they can be themselves and turn it into an income source or a business.
Yeah.
To then be able to afford you the ability to live the life that you want, right?
Yeah, and like I say, I think the big one there is I just followed through with my passion. I knew about skiing and snowboard instructing, and I just kept with that. It was hard at times, but now it's come good, and now I can have a lot of free time and do what I love doing. I love playing sport and being in the outdoors. I go windsurfing a lot and things like that. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm lucky or if, you know, I've put in hard yards and that, but I'm in a very fortunate...
If you're being honest with yourself.
Oh, I don't know.
Does it just happen? Like, does success happen?
No, it doesn't. It takes a lot of blood, sweat and tears, for another cliche, to be fair, you know, and you worry. You know, geez, we've got this coronavirus at the moment. Like, there's a lot of things in this industry that are out of our control. Global warming, is there going to be snow? You know, and things like that. You know, we had the Fukushima disaster, you know, and that, like the season after that, because everyone was afraid that you come to Japan and leave with a third leg or something. You know, but it's not the fact of the matter, you know. So there's a lot of things out of our control that make you worry, and you know this, having your own business as well, and it's not you worry, you know. But you know, you got to take these risks to get the rewards, and the rewards I'm having at the moment is I have a lot of time off. I work hard over time, and you know, I'm living a fantastic life. I have a great life. You know, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Well, mate, when you think about that, you were going to go and look for other jobs for other companies and stuff versus what you're doing now. Do you really think you could have ever worked for someone else in that regard?
Well, no. Now that's the thing, is I've sort of wrecked myself. I don't think, you know, something would have to go extremely wrong here, and which is possible. I say all these uncontrollable outside events that could, you know, destroy the snow industry in Japan. You never know. Mount Fuji could erupt. Who knows? So in that case, maybe I will have to go.
Mount Fuji over there?
No, that's not Mount Fuji. Fuji's way away. We don't want to. Yeah, but you know, it's. Could I work for someone else? Yes, I could. You know, and but I'd be pretty picky. You know what I mean? I like working for myself because you can, what you put in, it's a little bit like skiing actually. It's ski development. What you put into it is what you get out of it. You know, whereas perhaps working for someone else is more of a team environment, someone can be letting the team down, and so the whole team suffers. You know what I mean? So that is one thing, and I'd advise to anyone who, you know, likes the challenges, do your own business and that sort of thing, and what you put into it is the rewards you'll get in the end. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, that one, I suppose.
What about for someone who just goes, no, I just couldn't do it? Like, what's the real difference, say, between doing it and not doing it in relation to, I guess, time, money, effort? Like, it's got to be worth it, surely, to do it than not do it, don't you think?
Yeah, I'd say for sure. Like, I just look to where I am now. I'm leading a dream life. You know, it's just the hard yards and willing to take the risk. That's what it is. You know, have you got but you've got to have confidence in what you're doing and your own abilities. You know what I mean? I knew the ski and snowboard industry, so that's what I stayed with. You know, some people start doing businesses that they don't really know much about, you know, and it's going to be tough, you know what I mean? Of course, you can learn on the spot. We have a lot of people come over here, and lodge owners, you know, they think it's going to be a walk in the park. Come over, I'll buy a ski lodge, I'll come over, go skiing every day, you know. But that's not how it works. And to a lot of my friends own lodges here and there, really great entrepreneurs as well. They put in incredible yards to satisfy customers on a day in, day out sort of thing. Like, hats off to them, because, wow, that is a tough job that I don't think I could do. But this is what they wanted to do, and they enjoy that, you know what I mean? So that's the thing, is you got to enjoy what you're doing, don't you?
Well, you'd never be here now, would you?
No, exactly. You've got to enjoy what you're doing before you're going to succeed in it, I think.
What do you say to someone who's, I guess, scared of the hard yards, or, you know, I don't want to say soft or whatever, when challenges occur, but how do you overcome it for yourself? What do you do on a daily basis if things are not working out for you?
Get angry at myself, I suppose. No.
Smack yourself around a bit?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Like, when things don't go your way, you know, and I think that's a growth thing as well. Like, I tended to get a lot angrier earlier as I'm a redhead with small man syndrome, Andrew, so it's a dangerous combination, you know, but...
Is there actually such a thing as a redhead small man?
yeah, they're outliers, that's
yeah,
for sure.
They are.
Yeah, so, you know, what would I say? You just got to give it a go, and then you got to work. You got to do the yards, and don't expect it to succeed straight up. You got to prepared to take steps back. You know, you might be working for a company doing really well, but if you're going to start your own business, you can't go paying yourself what you were getting paid. You have to go back to blooming like a rookie. You know, you've got to invest all your time back into the business, otherwise it'll never work.
Well, I think that's one of our things with Outlier, is about living life outside the comfort zone. You've got to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, don't you?
Well, yeah, you do, and you've got to be comfortable with yourself. You've got no one to turn to, really. You can ask for advice from people, and I'll tell you what, that's where, like, mentoring and TV shows like this might inspire people, but maybe, you know, through Outlier, you might be able to make contacts with other people who are doing the same thing that might be able to help you out, as long as they're not in competition with me. But
well, you've helped a few people in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, I have helped a few people in the past, and sometimes that comes back to bite you in the arse, but you know,
That's just a measure of a person, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's, don't they saying, being copied is the biggest form of flattery or something like that.
Yeah.
So I suppose when you get people copying you or stealing your ideas, then
Yeah.
it's almost saying well done, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's a compliment. So, do you have any mentors for yourself, like other than yourself, getting fired up at yourself? Is there people you look up to or look to for advice?
I mean, there's been ski school managers who I've liked the way they've run ski schools. Like when I've worked under them, that I'd say there's one guy called Teddy from France who was one of my first ski school bosses in Japan, and he was an amazing guy. Just the way he ran the ski, it wasn't his own company, but the way he ran the ski school and the respect he showed his staff and how he looked after his staff is something I've always aspired to do. You don't get it right sometimes, and some of my staff probably, they're not going to all like you, especially when you get more. But you try and be fair, and I role modelled myself off him a little bit. There's another guy, Michel Marchand, and another ski school director in New Zealand that I worked for. He's just a really lovely guy. You learn a lot off him. You learn off your friends and that as well, who are doing other businesses and stuff. I've got one of my partners here, Kevin. He runs a big business, and so, he's a fantastic businessman, and I've learned a lot off him just in dealing with people. He's a lot more level-headed than I am, so I've learned a lot off him in the way of that. But, I talk to these lodge owners that I've had, and, they're almost role models for me, the way they deal with people day in, day out, that I don't have to. They're looking after them 24/7. We're looking after them during the daytime on the snow, but they're dealing with all sorts of stuff. So, those guys are a bit of heroes, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. What about, mate, you're a redhead with a short man syndrome who, growing up, I guess the other part of being an outlier is sometimes people don't feel like they belong or they don't fit in, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you have to those people to keep going, keep being true to themselves and trust that it's going to all work out?
Yeah, well, I think, being a redhead, I didn't have much confidence in myself. Because you always got ridiculed at school, didn't you? No, that's a lie. I was always confident, but I think different beliefs. I've got a face that would make an onion cry, Andrew. So I wasn't that, but wasn't that confident in my own looks and stuff like that. But I had other strengths. I was very good at sport and things like that, and I did well at school. So I think what you got to do is focus on your strengths and believe in yourself. And I actually realised is that when you believe in yourself and your own strengths, other people look past your weaknesses. They don't even see them. You know what I mean? It's like, like I say, you can be, might not be an oil painting, but people won't even see that when you're successful in other things in your life. You're a beautiful person, to everyone. If you believe in your own strengths, your weaknesses, they just disappear.
It's a great point because, that's the Instagram generation now and everything's all about how good everyone's looking, but it's just an illusion, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, because you can't see what the person's like on Instagram, mate. It's just a photo.
Yeah.
And is that photo you? It's not, is it? Well, I say, your cameras are having a hard time filming me at the moment, with my looks, but
Mate, you're the only one saying that. I am looking at an oil painting. I don't even think that's the other interesting part though, right? I'm not even thinking about what's going through your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
So your favourite subject is yourself, as is mine, of myself as everyone else.
Yeah.
So what we think people are thinking versus what's actually happening is not true, is it?
No, not true at all. Not true at all. Like I say, just if you're good at something, go down that road. Find what you're good at by trying lots of different things. And that's one thing I've found in, like in the ski industry as well. Like, this is an example. Like, some people say, instructors even, they're meant to be qualified. I don't like moguls. Moguls are the bumps on the skis, you see mogul competitions. I don't like moguls. Why don't you like moguls? It's because they can't do them. So they're scared because they're already instructors. They don't want to look like an idiot being a beginner through the moguls again. But the only way you're going to learn to do moguls is by doing bloody moguls and going back to being a beginner, Always we should try and put ourselves into situations that make you uncomfortable, because that's how you learn. You know what I mean? Instructors should be able to teach everything, you know what I mean? There shouldn't be any discipline within the snow category that you can't teach if you're going to be a true professional.
So the power of the beginner mind in every situation.
Yeah, and you can't be afraid to look stupid, or beginners don't look stupid. That's the thing. I think people think, I'm not very good, I won't be good at it, so I can't do it because I'm going to look dumb. If you're a beginner, so no one thinks you look dumb.
No.
Because you're a beginner.
Yeah. And if
you know what I mean?
do it, you'll never do it. So
you'll
that's
never
just
do
crazy.
it. And you're missing out on so much in life.
Yeah.
I imagine if I wouldn't have a business. People didn't want to be beginner skiers or snowboarders. They see stuff on the Olympics, that looks cool, but it's actually not that easy, you know what I mean? So,
well, that's another thing I like about you yourself yesterday. I haven't done skiing for 25 years or whatever, and I used to be a competent skier. I would never say I was a good skier. Yeah. But, you're a great skier, but it's not about you, right? No. You weren't there for you were there for me, to help me to get to where we had to go.
Well, I had to get you up here to this point in the snow, didn't we?
To check this out.
Yeah, but you couldn't ski, you weren't coming up here.
Yeah.
No, but that's right. You're just forgotten about it. It's not like, what's happened to you, Andy? You used to be a good skier, now look at you, you're junk. It's not like that at all. I knew you were a good skier, and look at you now, after a couple of little pointers, boom, got your mojo back.
Yeah, well, I just appreciate the fact that, a lot of people are going to think that guy, he's really good, he's going to think I'm a dick or whatever. It's just not the case, is it? Because, you wouldn't be running a ski school if that was the case.
No. And the thing is, we're all mirror images of each other. We all make the same mistakes in life and skiing and snowboarding. We all make the same mistakes to a lesser or greater degree. So when I'm teaching a beginner to ski, I'll be saying, okay, you've got to concentrate on this. I am concentrating on what I'm telling them, so my ability level is getting better as well. When I do a demonstration for them, I have to demonstrate correctly. So I am learning from them, because they're mirroring the mistakes I make, but they're doing it slightly to a greater degree. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Well, you're not passing on the best information if you're not doing it correctly yourself,
no,
are you?
That's right. But what I'm saying is we can't see ourselves in life as well. So, and we can't see the mistakes we're making. But if you turn around and look at some other people, hey, that guy looks like me, maybe I'm doing that. If you have a look around you and see, hey, shit, that's a mirror image of me. Maybe I shouldn't do that, or maybe I should fix that in my own life. You know what I mean? It's easy to look at other people and say, look at that idiot, or what's he doing? You're probably doing the same thing. Yeah. Probably not.
Well, especially if you're triggered by it, aren't you?
Yeah.
If something triggers you.
Yeah.
So what I love about skiing is it's a flow process. It's like golf. It's like a lot of sport. On paper it looks like you're just trying to get down the hill, but there's a process to it. But it applies to business and to life, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep. For sure. And like the better you get at things, the harder terrain you can negotiate. You know what I mean? There's a process to learn, and like I'm a beginner manager. You know what I mean? I may be getting into the intermediate stage. There's still a lot I have to learn. And, I can learn I love watching documentaries on Bill Gates and things like that, like just amazing people doing amazing things, and you can learn a lot from them. They're like life coaches almost, aren't they? You know what I mean? But, it's a process just like skiing. I think sport's an analogy for all sorts of things in life, isn't it?
That's great. I also think too that the better you get at something, the more simplified it actually becomes. Like, you don't need a lot of information, do you, when you're at that level? And then when you turn around as a great instructor, you're not overwhelming them with a lot of info, are you? No,
I think that's what, as you get more experience as a teacher or something, you can, what shows true understanding is when you can explain something to a layman in layman's terms. I can explain to you something quite complicated in a way that you'll understand. And that shows a true understanding of what you're teaching. You know what I mean? I can explain to you, in skiing we talk about gravity and centripetal force and centers of mass and things like that. But I can explain that stuff to you without getting really techie to the beginner. But once we get up the levels as well, I need to use these words and stuff so that you can get this depth of understanding as well as you get more advanced. I mean, you're your own best teacher. If you understand what you're meant to be doing, you don't need many teachers because you can teach yourself. You know what I mean? Lessons is a shortcut to success. That's all it is.
Yeah.
All we're teaching in skiing and snowboarding is teaching people to have more fun on the mountains. And you can do it in one lesson as opposed to battling for a week. Lessons is just a shortcut to success, learning from the mistakes that we've made as teachers to get where we are. You know, I think it's the same in life, isn't it?
Great investment, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I mean, when you're teaching something, you're just teaching people not to do the mistakes that you learned not to make.
So for the viewers out there, or anyone who's interested in coming to Hakuba and obviously hanging out with you guys, what would you say?
Yeah, come along. We'd love to see you. Hakuba's a beautiful place, and if you like skiing and snowboarding, you can't find a better place to come, you know. There's great accommodation here. We can put you in the direction for easiest ways to get there, the nice places to stay and all sorts, and come to the snow and we'll show you why we live here and why we love it so much.
What's interesting to me is it's the worst snow you've had in, is it 70 years?
Yeah, something like that, 70 years.
And yet it's the best snow I've ever experienced on a ski field, right? And I'm from New Zealand, which has some pretty good snow.
Yeah.
So you're pretty lucky, aren't you?
Yeah, we are very lucky here with the snow conditions we get, and yeah, it's world class. You know, it's second to none. Like, the snow here is fantastic. They have one of the big world ski and snowboard events is the World Freeride Tour, and they have that actually just on the face behind us here. They that was the middle of January. They had a World Freeride Tour, which is where all the best guys in the world come to show their skills on big mountains. And so that's just a testament to how good Hakuba is here.
So Dan, when you look back at yourself, you know, as a young upstart ski instructor starting out, failed a few times, to where you are now, what advice would you have for yourself back then?
Well, my big thing is I thought I was better than I was, and I didn't listen to people that knew better than I did. So yeah, you've got to be humble. You know what I mean? And have a good look at yourself. Are you as good as you think you are? Because there's other people and all sorts of things in life that do things better than you do. You know what I mean? And so you've got to be open to learn, and that's why I say you've got to be prepared to take lessons from everyone and learn from people. And that's something I think that's a young person's thing. They think you get out of university or something, you think you know everything. You don't. I don't. We don't, you know what I mean?
Just at the starting line,
yeah, and you're always learning, and you should. The moment you stop learning, you're going to make more mistakes. You know what I mean? So that would be my advice to that 20-year-old Daniel: is pull your head in, and perhaps listen to people, and take learning seriously.
Yeah.
You know?
What was a turning point for you on that, going from you thought you knew everything, or that you were better than you were, to actually going, you know what, I've got to adjust?
Well,
here.
I kept failing. I think the big problem I had, Andy, was growing up, I was good at school and I was good at sport. I never failed anything. So I went ski instructing, and that was the first thing I ever failed in my life. Never failed anything until I did that, and I couldn't understand why I was failing. And so, you know, I started blaming things on the examiners, the guys testing me don't know what they're talking about. You know? But when and then I kept failing, you know, so there comes to a point I just almost gave up ski instructing, you know. But I had to reassess and had to break down my own technique. I passed my teaching in the first time, you know, you have a teaching part and a ski part, but my technique, my skiing part wasn't what they're looking for. And if you're a true, you know, you should be able to ski in a number of different ways. You should be able to change your technique according to how people want, if you've got true mastery, you know. So, but, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, I think a big one was learning how to fail, you know, and then learning how to build yourself back up to get through.
So what fascinates me, Dan, is you've failed multiple times in your instructor's course. You were even suspended from school. But now you have one of the best ski schools in the world, I'd say. Yeah, so it's fascinating that you've gone through that journey of failure to actually come out the other end as almost a bit of a master in learning and sharing that learning with others. That's pretty impressive. Yeah,
I sort of don't think of yourself in those sort of terms. I like to think we're a world-class ski school for sure. My instructors are as good, if not better, than any instructors around the world. They're a fantastic team. they do me credit every day. They're out there, so I'm really proud of the people we've got working for us.
It's just interesting to observe that, like just from a self-reflection perspective, I'm fascinated by that. You've had to go through what you've gone through to get where you're going, and obviously wherever that's going to take you.
Yeah, and I mean that's a trial of passage or whatever, It's, I think everyone that's done do that. Like, I mean, you read books and stuff about entrepreneurs and stuff. How many times they fail and go bankrupt and then get back up and do it again? That's. It's almost weird characters, those guys that keep failing and coming back. Just don't know when to say when, do they? You know what I mean? But good on them, like I'm lucky that I've had good support with my parents and stuff like that, and I did fail a few times, but, I think through planning and that and like education, I was lucky to do marketing management, was helped me, and I had physical education, which has helped with my teaching, so these things are blended together, so I had a really good base to start my own business in the ski industry. So I think with that sort of base, I've minimised my failures so far. That's the thing, like failing the actual skiing part, that was really humbling, because I had everything else. I had the teaching down, I was a qualified high school teacher and stuff like that, so the teaching wasn't a problem, it was the actual physical doing, which was weird to me because sports was my forte sort of thing. But
so it was necessary, right?
Yeah, it was necessary, and I've become a better person because of it. If I flew straight through those things, I wouldn't be where I am now. I'd probably be like an examiner or something, doing back-to-back seasons. It was these failures that said, well, maybe I've got to do something different, you know what I mean? Rather than going down the pure side, starting my own business, So yeah, it was sort of like fate. A little bit, those failures. If I passed through, I probably wouldn't be where I am now. It's weird little turning. If I hadn't read the Otago Daily Times on that day, I might have been working for Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? Or something, who knows?
Well, it's fascinating again, back to resilience, and for the viewers, it's like, just keep going. It'll make sense later.
Yeah.
But just persevere. If it's in your heart and you're passionate about it, make it happen. Who knows what will happen, but something's going to happen.
Yeah, what you say there, the passion is key, and self-belief. You got to believe in what you're doing, Yeah, I think that's the key to anything. You got to want to do it. You got to believe in yourself, and you play to your strengths. Play to your strengths. I knew about skiing and snowboarding, so I knew I could do this. Okay, if I went and did something else, maybe I wouldn't be successful because I don't know anything about it. That's why I don't do backcountry, and I don't pretend to do it because I don't know enough about it. I can ski backcountry, but I don't want to learn about the snowpack or avalanches and stuff like that. That's another guy's profession. I specialise, do what you know.
Which again, simplify. You're simplifying purely by trusting who you are and what you feel is right for you.
Yep.
And that just makes it easier.
Yep.
You're not trying to be something that you're not.
Yeah, I get that thing, like people say, oh, why don't you do something in summer, do mountain biking or something. I don't know anything about mountain biking. I don't want to do mountain biking, Maybe start a tennis school like tennis, but I'm not a coach, so...
Yeah, it's not the same, is it?
Yeah, it's not the same. So now you're going to, it's,
Well, Dan, you've obviously shared some fantastic life stories, business stories, and helped inspire the viewers. And an amazing environment. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate being here.
No, and it's thank you for coming, and I hope you inspire a lot of people yourself who are running good businesses, and what a great show. Like going out and trying to be inspiration to other entrepreneurs, and so people know we're not the only ones out there, you know what I mean? Hopefully we can get a network together and start sharing these stories, and who knows, might be able to merge businesses and all sorts.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, Dan, you're officially an outlier, mate.
Thanks, brother.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well, there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed this inspiring Outlier episode with Daniel Mee. For more videos, resources and information, visit outlier.tv or connect with us on our social media pages below. I'm Andrew McComb, and here's to living the outlier life outside of the comfort zone. I'll see you soon.